I was about to call it a night after doing a live stream, and I happened to click a live video by the Cartier family. I don't know if you all know who they are. They do political commentary, and they actually had an interview of Ohio's District 44 State Representative Republican Josh Williams. And man, when I listened to Josh Williams' story, it absolutely blew me away. It inspired me to make this video. I'm gonna play a bit of it here for you. Check this out.
All right, man. I'm really excited about this interview, man. We're here with Josh Williams, a state representative from Ohio, a lawyer, man. And you've done a lot of really cool things and you've overcame a lot of adversity. And so I heard that you were a homeless high school dropout and now you're a state rep and a lawyer. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I mean, first, hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, in Toledo, Ohio, man, I was an 18-year-old senior when I dropped out of high school when I became homeless. I spent like 6 months sleeping on park benches, kind of bouncing from friend's house to friend's house, trying to make my way. Kind of overcame that a little bit, met the mother of my son, and started working at the railroad. And then at the age of 21, I fell 30 feet and destroyed my spine.
Wow.
So I've had over 40 procedures on my spine. I have metal in my spine. I have a full fusion of my lower back to my pelvis, and laid in bed for 6 years disabled, man. Grew to like 458 pounds at my heaviest.
Wow.
Kind of gave up there for a minute, and met some good doctors, some good lawyers, some good mentors, and with the support of my family, kind of overcame that. And at the age of 29, after having weight loss surgery and 40 procedures on my spine, including 5 major procedures, I felt healthy enough to get out of bed. And we kind of fought with the state of Ohio for a year for me to be able to go to college as an injured worker. They didn't want to give me permission, but we overcame that. And at 30, I enrolled at the University of Toledo as a freshman. And 5 years later, at 35, I graduated from law school with my third degree. So I have an associate's, a bachelor's with honors. I graduated magna cum laude. I got a full scholarship to UT Law, graduated from law school a semester early. And at 35, I became a practicing attorney. I went on to be a college professor at Adrian College, where I teach constitutional law. And then I ran for state representative in 2022. And when I was sworn in on January 3rd of 2023, I became the first Black Republican in the Ohio House in 50 years. And this year, on January 6th, when I got sworn in, I became the first Black majority whip in Ohio's history.
How can you listen to this man tell his story, all the things he went through? Homeless, shattered his spine, full fusion of his spine to his pelvis. How do you listen to a story like that and find a reason to give up? How can you listen to a story like that and use any excuse that you may have as a reason to not give your very best? Me, just like every other person, sometimes I struggle to find motivation. In my eyes, as far as I see it, I've accomplished a lot of things, but I also understand that there's so much more out there for me to accomplish. We get discouraged. That's a part of the human condition. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't at some point feel discouraged. But that's when we use these tools, these resources like YouTube, to find stories that absolutely inspire us to go out and tackle life's challenges and approach them in a way that makes us grow as people, as human beings. When I listen to this story that Josh Williams tells, this story of his life, I mean, the guy had every reason to give up. The guy had every reason to sit on Ohio's disability system and just live out the rest of his life in obscurity and in depression until he ultimately, passed away. But that wasn't good enough for him. And it's really not good enough for any of us not to do everything we can to fight to reach our full potential.
Wow.
Dang.
That
That's
was
amazing.
incredible.
Man, I didn't know all that.
That was incredible.
That's
story.
crazy.
Yeah, you fought a lot of adversity.
Yeah. So I can see why, you see things the way you do, and you're not like the opposite of a victim right there.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, you have a very unique path, and I've seen you've been very outspoken against DEI, and like
Yeah.
obviously with the background like you have come from being disabled and going through the things you've been through. Some would say DEI should benefit you, but you're very against it. Could you like share why you have a stance against DEI and what some of the reasons for that are?
Yeah, I mean, I believe diversity can be beneficial, right? We want to see a diverse, a classroom, a diverse chamber, a diverse boardroom, at a Fortune 500 company. But the problem is when you have forced diversity by government or by businesses, what happens is it diminishes the image of the individuals that made it into that boardroom, into that classroom, onto that board, onto that chamber, merely because everyone will assume the reason you're there is because of DEI and not that you're qualified. We made tremendous strides to gain access. We always wanted to be treated equally. But now the left, and I'll speak frankly, the white liberal wants to take credit for our accomplishments by saying the reason you are there is because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you can't be there unless we promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm not going to give anybody ownership of the obstacles I overcame, the hard work that I had to put in, stand up late nights, still coaching kids in sports and going home and reading until 2 o'clock in the morning, going to class at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not going to let anybody take ownership of that. And I know from the studies that I've read, I know from personal experience and talking to people in my community that DEI has led to this viewpoint that the only reason Black people are in the room is you're a DEI hire. And that just reinforces racial stereotypes. It actually hurts our community. And what we've seen from the studies is DEI actually is just a way of the left being able to push in the minority communities that they want. So we're not seeing substantial growth in Black representation. We're seeing substantial growth in white women getting the position or LGBTQ members getting the position over us. But yet we are the scapegoats for the policy, saying if you take it away, it's going to harm Black people. But the studies show that's not true. That's not accurate. And then the second part of it is this equity thing, right? We went from demanding equality to demanding equity. And equity means we want a equal outcome, not equal opportunity, but an equal outcome, meaning, 13% of America is Black. That means, a room full of 100 people, 13 of them must be Black. Well, what happens when you can only find a few qualified Black candidates that meet the requirements to get in the room? The answer is the woke left will tell you will drop the standards, give an extra bump to the applicant because they're part of a minority group. And what that does is the individuals in the room start looking at all of us as though we're unqualified. It diminishes our ability to get in that room based off of our merits, and it just reinforces the idea that you can't be here without my assistance, right? I mean, the white liberal loves to remind us of slavery, but understand that we weren't freed, we were emancipated. We were provided slavery. They want to remind us that everything we have is given to us by them. And I'm not going to let them take ownership of my story.
I have a couple of goals I set for myself this year. Making this YouTube channel more successful and really giving the best I have, the best of me, to all of you and anyone who does me the honor of subscribing or even clicking on one of the videos to this channel, this channel. And hearing the stories like Josh Williams, it just gives me more, it makes me more determined to deliver not only for you all, but deliver for myself, to show up for myself And maybe my example can inspire someone else. Maybe that that is one way I can pay forward the inspiration that I receive from men like Josh Williams. There's so much flack you get for being a black conservative, but I'll tell you, black conservatives are some of the best of us. To come from a position where we, or come from a space, a community where we have a million reasons that we can use, a million excuses that we can use for giving up, and no one would bat an eye. As a matter of fact, we might be congratulated and celebrated for taking the path of victimhood. But instead, we reject that and we stand strong and stand firm as men and women with full awareness of self and total confidence in our ability to be great in the face of adversity, in the face of doubt, but most importantly, in the face of lowered expectations, sometimes lowered by the people we love, our families, our coworkers, our friends, people we hold dear. We push back against it and say, no, no, I can go further. I can reach higher than everyone expects me to. And just that dogged determination to be more than everyone else expects you to be is enough to give us the courage we need to stand in the storm. You know, stand firm when people that we know and that we love may even turn against us, and be committed in our resolve to push the limits of what it means to be black in America. I believe we're part of a special group, a chosen group, even that's meant to bring our people out of darkness and for maybe the first time ever, help our people see the light. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think of Josh Williams' story. And I'll be happy to take some of the best comments and respond to them. Um, as I always say, until the next time, take care of yourself, but most importantly, please take care of each other and never give up. Peace.